where Carter killed Jackson. Just before New York in the year 1750, a prosperous merchant of Virginia with business interests all along the New England coast left his home in Virginia on horseback with a bag full of silver money and a pack of valuable deerskins for a journey to Boston. About the same time, Captain Thomas Carter, the master and owner of a small coasting vessel, left Newport with a cargo for New York. Carter had the misfortune to have his vessel run aground somewhere along the Connecticut shore, causing the loss of his boats and entire cargo. He was obliged, without money, to try to make his way on foot back to his home in Newport. Somewhere along the way in Jackson, a kindly man noticed Carter on foot, offered him a ride on his horse, and finding him penniless, paid his way at the various taverns where they stopped on the route. On New Year's Day, about noon, the two stopped at Williard's Tavern, which stood, until only a few years ago, at the corner of what is now Willard Avenue and Old Post Road. Here they rested and partook of good cheer and meals provided by Widow Nash, who ran the tavern for owner Willard. Somewhere on the trip, Jackson had lost a button from his coat and asked the widow to sew one on for him. This she gladly did, although she was unable to match the other buttons of the coat. After an early supper, the pair left to journey over the new road laid out only a few years before along the ridge of Tower Hill. They planned to spend the night at Franklin Ferry and cross to Newport in the morning. Carter was to go to his home there and Jackson to complete his journey to Boston. Near the top of Tower Hill, Carter, evidently having learned of the large amount of money Jackson was carrying with him, had planned his foul deed before leaving the tavern. With a heavy stone which he had secreted on his person, he struck Jackson a violent blow on the head. Although not killed by the blow, he was knocked off his horse and stabbed to death by Carter, who then dragged the body across the fields where Mount St. Joseph College now stands, and pushed him under the ice in Petsquamigot Cove below the hill. Carter then continued on Jackson's horse to the ferry and crossed to Newport in the morning, where he sold the whole horse and deerskins. He felt well with the sum of money, which was about $5,400 in our present coin. A week or two later, a man spearing for eels in the cove came upon Jackson's body. No one knew whom it might be, but the widow Nash remembered the two who had spent New Year's there. She asked to see the body and immediately recognized Jackson by the button she had sewed on for him that day. Suspicion soon fell on Carter, and a few days later he was arrested in Newport by Sheriff Rowland Robinson of Kings County and was brought in handcuffs to the county jail, then on Tower Hill, at the new junction of Tower Hill and Torrey Roads. Court was held there in the courthouse, then on the opposite corner. Carter, although he at first pleaded innocent, later confessed and told the full details of his crime. He was sentenced to be hanged on the so-called training lot at the foot of Torrey Road. The execution took place on May 10th, 1751, and the sentence was that his body should be hanged in chains, then known as in gibbets, until consumed. Here, for many months, the chains had Carter's bones rattled in the wind until almost no one would pass the spot, especially at night. What still remained of Thomas Carter was finally taken down and sent to Newport for burial. So ended the story of New Year's Day in South Kingstown 245 years ago.